Hello and welcome everyone to Hidden Chasms Part 2, the SakuAtsu Heart Comfort series. This part is a little shorter, I apologize, but to make up for it, the next part will be a bit longer again. As I said already in the previous part, check for content warnings in the video description, and now I hope you enjoy. Let's go. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the video. Enjoy! Days passed, and the matter slowly migrated to the back of Sakusa's mind. He couldn't forget about it. The brief moment of fear flashing over Atsumu's face was burned into his memory, but throughout the week, living out their daily lives without disturbances, it lost its relevance. Or rather, urgency. He still very much wanted to know what caused Atsumu's distress, if only to avoid it in the future at all costs. It was a riddle he failed to solve. After all, it surely couldn't just have been Atsumu. The younger Miya twin was nothing but a strong support for his older brother. Maybe a bit too protective at times, but Atsumu could always count on him, and he did. Sakusa remembered vaguely the one time the blonde had been missing from practice almost a week due to what he assumed must have been an ordinary sickness, a cold or something alike. At the time, they weren't close, though Sakusa would be lying if he said part of him didn't worry back then. One day before Atsumu returned, with a smile that was slightly forced to be brighter but genuine at its core nonetheless, the Raven met the younger twin on the hallway of their apartment complex. His expression was grim, and he carried what looked like a care package to his brother's door. At the time, Sakusa didn't bother asking what troubled the setter. They hadn't been close enough. And yet, now he regretted it. Chances were that he wouldn't have gotten a genuine answer from the silver-haired at the time, or even today for that matter, but he still wished he had tried. This way, whatever reason caused Atsumu's distress both times remained unknown to him. For the last days he waited for Atsumu to bring it up, but he didn't. And so he didn't either. If the blonde wasn't ready to talk about it, it wasn't his place to ask. Though Sakusa couldn't claim it was easy, not knowing. If they had been together for longer, maybe, just maybe, he would have tried for an answer sooner. If he had known him better, could have read his signs and body language well enough to make sure the question wouldn't put him back into whatever that was, but he didn't. He thought he did. Which was foolish and arrogant in retrospective. Some things only get revealed and accomplished through time, like knowing your partner's habits and very being like your own, better even perhaps. It almost scared him how much he wanted that for them. Perhaps that was why not knowing became his new, least favorite thing about the setter. The morning was fresh and foggy when Sakusa's heart fastened with a completely different kind of worry. He clung to his coffee mug and must have looked particularly murderous at the beverage because Atsumu noticed, and with his typical teasing smirk poked fun at him from afar, namely the couch he was draped over lazily. They had spent the night together at Sakusa's apartment this time, and Atsumu had visibly few troubles with feeling at home. Did the coffee murder your entire family, or it just failed its duty? Sakusa huffed in faint annoyance, though Atsumu wasn't completely wrong. He really didn't feel awake enough for this. No, it's nothing, babe. His grip tightened, and for a moment he didn't dare meet the golden eyes. There, he did it. 13 weeks, and he finally managed to use a pet name. He felt his face heat up and tried to... Why did he look like that? When he finally did dare meet Atsumu's gaze, the image was not what he expected. The golden eyes had widened, and for a moment, shock was written all over the blonde's features. Then he gulped, slowly, carefully. He blinked a couple of times before control returned to him, but still the expected reaction, teasing or anything alike, never came. At this point, he wanted anything but this. Atsumu was too quiet. What did she say? I said, wait, don't repeat it. The same tremor ran through his voice as that day. The same worried smile played on his lips as he tried to cover up his reaction, stopping the trembling of his lower lip by capturing it between his teeth as before. A frown sat on Sakusa's brows, and he slowly placed the mug aside. I thought you liked pet names. You always coo over it when characters use them in K-dramas or manga. A slight bitterness accompanied his words, and Sakusa internally chastised himself for it. He felt a little disappointed, betrayed that Atsumu didn't seem to appreciate the efforts it took him to work up the courage to say this. But that wasn't the setter's fault. He shouldn't have expected anything, or drawn conclusions from what the other enjoyed in fiction versus reality. Still, this was off the other end of the spectrum of expected reactions. I do. It's just... He nibbled at his lip again. His hands twisted into the fabric of his hoodie, and for a moment his eyes seemed to focus on something far away before he seemed to remember where he was, and with a flinch brought himself back to reality. It's tacky, don't you think? Completely overused. He tried playing for confidence and half leaned over the back of the couch while resting his face in his hand. His grin felt almost like an insult to Sakusa. He couldn't remember the last time he had been audience to Atsumu's fake smiles. Actually fake, not just amplified or camera ready. And it wasn't even convincing at that. Okay, what is going on? It didn't change, but Sakusa could see his expression harden. What do you mean? Don't play. He stopped himself as he noticed that Atsumu had used the same words before, and it hadn't gone well then either. He needed to stay calm. With a deep breath, he set down the coffee mug on the kitchen counter before leaning against it as he faced Atsumu. Atsu, something is wrong. At least be honest about that. I would be a pretty shitty boyfriend if I didn't notice that much after dating for 3 months. The golden eyes he loved so much didn't look at him anymore. They were focused on the fabric of the couch as though the pattern in which it was woven had suddenly sparked his interest. I want to help, or in the very least, not make you feel that way anymore. So, please, talk to me. It took all his willpower to stay where he was. Yet the slight inkling that coming off forceful would have the opposite effect he desired. Still, it was hard to tolerate the sudden distance between them. Really empathetic, ain't I? A bitter chuckle escaped his lips, though it sounded slightly choked. Cold shivers haunted on Sakusa's spine at the words, but before he could reply and offer reassurance, Atsumu got up so suddenly Sakusa kept silence in surprise. I should get going. Sorry for that. Atsumu, wait. But the setter was already at the door, putting on his shoes. Shit. What happened? What had he done wrong? Atsumu? Sakusa reached out to him, but as soon as his fingers caressed his shoulder, the blonde flinched violently. He pulled his hand back as though he had burned himself and froze. His breathing was rigid as he tried to understand what was going on. He wished he didn't. He would have just let him go. When Atsumu turned around at the door, fear coined his expression. He tried to hide it, but his eyes betrayed him. Atsumu was scared. He was scared of him. For a moment, Sakusa forgot how to breathe, as the realization hit him like a truck. The setter was gone long before he could catch himself. Before he knew what was happening, a familiar itch spread through his skin and he rushed to the bathroom. His brain short-circuited, and he found himself vigorously washing his hands until they turned red in irritation. Only then could he force himself to stop. The itch was still there, just slightly more manageable after giving in to the urge. He knew he needed to calm himself before it escalated. Cleaning calmed him. His brain provided, causing a frustrated groan to escape his throat. His thoughts raced back to the therapy sessions he still attended regularly. He needed to remember the strategies he'd been taught. Slowly, by controlling his breathing and allowing minor, non-destructive tasks, he calmed. His hands were still painfully red, reminding him that his skin wouldn't forgive a slip-up so easily. And still, the itch was just under the surface, dangerously close. He needed to find a way to work through what happened today that wouldn't trigger him to spiral. If he could just manage to sort his thoughts and look at the facts, he might be able to understand or at least think about it without panicking. A list. He should make a list. Or write it down somehow. Automatically, his feet carried him to his bedroom and the desk in the corner next to the window. He found the paper, but when he lifted a pen to the blank surface, his hands started to tremble. He needed help. Thank you so much for watching to the end. I hope you liked it. If you did, don't forget to leave a like because it really helps the channel out. And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss out on the next parts. The next part of this, in particular, will come out next week, same time on Thursday. I'm super excited for it. I hope you are too. Tell me in the comments what you thought of the series so far. Any theories as to what is going on, and a little hint. Will this happen before Family Line? Family Line at the very end include a very, very interesting information that could be relevant for this. Now, here are my other social media. Check them out if you like, though I'm most active here on YouTube and on Chatty. And if you want to see the next part, if it's out already, it will show up here. And if not, there will be other cool videos. Check them out. Have a great day.
Step 3, grow hard about what you want to be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be